So the plot.
The special mini edition of the Modcast, which may be edited into a regular episode, depending on how long it takes. Why don't you give us the skinny?
We're gonna have a look at a website called Tier Maker, which has been used before by fans to rank 124 Simpsons characters apparently. And but the USP for us is that we are going to be ranking them as if we were Maude, or where she would put them. We have got, and again, this isn't anything you need to worry about yet. I've just sort of changed so top is Holy Rollers, which will be the best of the best, and then we have loved ones, we have friends, we have acquaintances, we have indifferent, and we have dislike.
Nice.
So more good cast. The Holy Rollers just means her absolute goats.
Ah, I see. First up, Agnes Skinner. Agnes Skinner.
I would put her in friend. I wouldn't put her any higher than that. I don't think there's that much going on. Would you agree?
I agree. She's an investorette.
Yeah, she sure is. Akira. We'll do them one at a time, and then
Indifferent.
Yes, I agree.
If she even remembers who he is, she has very little feeling about him.
Yeah, I don't think she's ever met him on screen. Indian Manapu.
Oh,
I put him in friend as well.
I think that's pushing it a bit. I think it's an acquaintance.
An acquaintance. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. Actually, that's fine. Annie Pie, the
Eye in the Sky.
Eye in the Sky.
Indifferent. I don't think she's met him.
Yeah, I agree. I imagine she quite likes him though, because he provides useful information.
Yes, but we don't have a likes. We only have a friends.
Acquaintances would be people that she, maybe likes, but has to know. Artie Ziff.
Indifferent. I don't think she will have ever met him, would she?
I'm going to say dislike on the pretense that if she did meet him, she would dislike him.
Accepted.
We can also play that game.
Barney Gumble.
It's going to have to be indifferent or dislike from me.
I don't think she likes Barney Gumble. I think if she knows him at all, she has no time for him.
Yeah, let's go dislike.
Bart Simpson.
Dislike.
Absolutely.
Solid dislike.
Solid dislike. Bernadette Hibbert.
Yes, almost.
Bernice Hibbert.
I would go for acquaintance. I don't think they're close at all for the women that she is close to. You never see them together.
Yeah, probably an acquaintance.
Bill and Marty from the radio. I would go dislike because of the content. It's very sort of like magazine radio. It's not the judgmental hour.
Agreed. Bleeding Gums Murphy.
Oh, we're gonna have to go indifferent, aren't we? Because I think we could change mid-episode, change acquaintances to like, so that we can speculate whether she would like people she doesn't know.
Okay, I've changed to acquaintances / like.
And I would put Bleeding Gums Murphy in that category. I shouldn't know him, but I imagine she'd quite like the mellow jazz. Yeah, I know. I'm
noticing a pattern coming up in the acquaintances, but I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
Well, at least not the pattern forming in the dislikes.
Oh, no. We wouldn't cast those aspersions at Maude. So far, we've only got one person who's an actual friend. So
yes, she's a lonely woman.
Well, we'll see, won't we? What about Blinky the Three-Eyed Fish?
Given that he stands for everything against God, even though it's not personally Blinky's fault, I would put him in dislike.
I think so. Sideshow Robert Terwilliger.
I'm going to go acquaintances / like. We've only seen her interact with him like twice, and they've both been relatively positive experiences.
What happened in the one where he was trying to murder her children? But I guess he made it clear that he wasn't trying to murder her children, just Bart Simpson.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Then he named the people he wasn't going to murder, and he named Ned and Maude, but not Rob and Josh.
But also, surely, regardless of what she thinks about Bart Simpson, there's no way she's letting a child or any murderer into her acquaintances. No, I'm overriding that. She has to dislike Sideshow Bob.
Deal.
Elvira.
Yes, Boobarella. Dislike. She stands for everything Maude doesn't like, and they have the same off shelf, and Maude has been more thingy about it.
Exactly.
Brandine. I'm going to say indifferent. I don't think she dislikes poor people. She just enjoys to watch them in the infield.
I think she judges them harshly and does not like them.
So we're going dislike again.
I'm saying dislike. I can be persuaded to indifferent, but I've got a feeling she's not keen on the Brandine or any poor people.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's more of an indifferent unkeen than a solid hatred. But let's leave it there. I like how big this dislike pile's getting.
Okay, Bumblebee Man. Let's see which group he falls into, shall we?
Acquaintances. I don't know.
He's not a friend, and I don't think she's indifferent to him.
I think he is genuinely someone. I think she would like his style of comedy on the television. It's very safe slapstick.
It's gentle and silly.
Yes.
Charles Montgomery Burns.
This is a tough one because we've seen her like him at times. I think we're going to have to go dislike, aren't we, at this point? She's seen too much. She's
seen too much. She definitely cannot like him. Even if she'd seen brief glimpses of his heart, there's no way she's accepting him as anything other than a rotter.
No, she's seen him do too many bad things since the good things. Carl Carlson.
Carlson, definitely a friend. Yeah. I don't think it's any higher than that, though.
No, yeah, I would go friend. We know they spent some time together in the diaries, bonding over wind chimes, I think.
Yes, and there was some kind of heist or armed robbery take place while they were having food, wasn't there?
I believe so, but I believe that is she would call Carl a friend.
A dear friend, but not a loved one.
A pattern-breaking friend.
How about the Catwoman?
Crazy Catwoman. This is where I'm going to go a bit spectral speculations, and I'm going to say that maybe we never discussed it because the paths never crossed, because Catwoman comes in late, but maybe she sees her as some kind of prophet, so I would place her at the very top.
That is absolutely crazy. I like where that's going, but I think it's already compromised the integrity of this chart.
I agree, but that's a story that's going to be set up in the future.
Okay, let's say when we revisit this, if she hasn't been declared a prophet in the very next episode in some kind of diary, then she needs to get moved down to probably indifferent.
I would agree. Dislike. I think she sees something in the Catwoman that she recognizes in Christ.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like where that's going. All right, Super Nintendo Charmers.
Excellent. I would go acquaintances / like. I think she would like his no-nonsense approach to Springfield.
I agree.
He's very straightforward. Like something he says, I can't remember what he says. He says, who are you going to ask? The guy dressed as a bumblebee or the man with a bone in his hair?
She would definitely like that, the cut of that jib. All right, Cletus.
Dislike. I do feel like she would slightly give Brandine more of a chance than Cletus, though.
I don't know. I don't know if that's. I think she'd dislike. Why don't we move Brandine up to indifferent?
Let's do it. I think she would remind her of like Madge or somebody, so it would bring a bit of warmth.
Okay, but this was she's somewhat ambivalent to her. She doesn't actually like her. Cletus, no. I think she would dislike. Comic book guy, strong dislike.
Yeah, I agree. She would also hate him, wouldn't she? He would be too much for her.
Yeah. Hey, what happens when you run out of spaces?
It just comes up. It just makes a new line.
Brilliant. All right, Judge Judy.
Judge Constance Harm, played by Jane What's-Her-Face from Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh yeah,
which is weird because she was in it like 3 or 4 times in the height of Malcolm in the Middle's popularity. Never in it again, and then she was like in it last week in season 34.
Brilliant. Was Doogie Howser in it as well?
No Housers.
All right, where is she?
I would put her at acquaintances / like because she's a very stern, lawful woman. So.
I think so. I'll give you that.
Cookie Kwan.
I don't know Cookie Kwan. What do we know about her?
I'd say more would be indifferent / dislike because she's very territorial and aggressive. I don't think she would treat Maude very nicely, so I don't think they would ever form. She's not got much of a moral compass either, so yeah, I'd put her in dislike.
Okay, let's go with a dislike. Database.
A cast friend.
I would put him in the likes. She'd like Database. He's a bit nerdy. She'd be like a bit suspicious of his geekiness, but she'd be like, okay, well at least he's nice and safe. I don't mind my boys playing with him as long as he keeps his damn mouth shut.
I'd say he was also easy to babysit.
Very good. What about Disco Stewart Tech?
A double whammy of casts. I'm going to say indifferent. I don't think they've had much interaction, and there's not much to dislike with Stu, but they're not going to form a friendship, are they? There's no common ground, so she would be indifferent to Disco Stu.
I agree. Sadly, he goes in the indifferent pile. Kearney, is that Kearney? Dolph.
Straight up
dislike. surely.
Yeah, kid. The best of the three, though, Jimbo, Dolph, and Kearney, but still a bad kid.
At least Kearney's raising his child, but I'm sure he's raising it wrong.
Exactly. Dr. Nick.
Nick
Hello,
Riviera.
everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm also Dr. Nick.
Yes, you might remember me from Dislike again, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just a straight up charlatan. She ain't got any time for that kind of thing.
The boxer Drederick Tatum. Probably in dislike from me, because he's violent outside of the boxing as well. Like I think he pushed his mum down the stairs.
She wouldn't like any of that stuff. She'll have read about his actions in the tabloids and she would be absolutely against it.
Yeah, dislike. Duffman.
Straight up dislike. There's no way she likes a character who promotes beer.
That is true. I know she doesn't seem to be strongly against the drinking of beer, but I don't think she would like his whole energy.
No, I don't think she would want somebody promoting such actions. I don't know if she's actually against beer, but most seems to suggest that Ned has a fear of beer.
That is true.
We haven't seen that in Maude, but all right, what's this one? Is it Eddie?
That is Eddie. Acquaintances / like. He's a man of the law, so she probably feels safe and trusted. He's also the competent one of the three.
Okay.
Not bad.
So I thought she might be indifferent to him, but I guess she would have like at least a small like for an officer of the law who's not a total rotter.
Yeah. Fat Tony.
And/or Fit Tony.
This is relatively controversial as well, but I would also put him in acquaintances / like, because as we know, she sort of has a relationship with the mafia. So I think as much as she's judging, like, she chooses who she judges. So she's judging Brandine and Cletus for being poor, but she's not judging Tony for his actions because she sort of knows him and he's been nice to her, so she sees the good in him.
Heart of gold, innit?
Exactly.
Professor Frink.
Either friend or we might have our first loved one.
Really?
They are.
Not going
That is
that
quite
high.
exciting. I'm just thinking, front row of the funeral, there's got to be something there.
Let's put him in. Let's go friend. Maybe if we flesh out what exactly, other than his funny voice and that small anecdote, brought him to the front of the funeral. I read that baby with the one eyebrow.
Oh, yeah, Baby Gerald. Indifferent. No interest in Baby Gerald.
Gil.
She'd
seem as pathetic for sure, but I don't know if that would mean she'd actually dislike him.
I think there would be more pity than dislike with Gil, so I don't think we could say. Like, she wouldn't judge him the way that she judges a lot of people. I think she would judge him pitifully.
Yeah, but she'd be somewhat indifferent to his cause, really. She doesn't really care about him.
Yeah, let's go indifferent.
Okay, surely this is a no-brains.
Yeah.
The big man upstairs.
God, our second holy roller after Cat Lady.
All right, Abraham Simpson. We know they invited him in that time and let him have dinner, but surely they've run into him many times in negative ways as Homer's father. There's no way she likes him.
You think? I was going to say she probably. I can't think of an overly negative experience with Abe. They seem to have been. There's sort of two. I can't remember the other one, but there's two examples of Maude and Ned with Abe and not Homer, and they sort of do treat everybody on their own merit. Same with Herb Powell when they wash his feet and stuff. Like, he's very clearly related to Homer. They've got the same face, but there's no judgment. So I would let's settle in the middle and say indifferent.
I can't accept indifferent. She can't be indifferent about someone she knows that well. She either likes him at this point or she dislikes him.
Okay, then I'll go like. She invited him in for dinner and he didn't wreck the house.
A mad like,
yeah. Yeah, she likes him in the context of the rest of the family too.
Hank Scorpio.
It depends what she sees, doesn't it? If she sees the real Scorpio, it's going to be dislike. If she sees the front Scorpio, I would put him straight up in friend.
And we've got to assume that at some point it kind of came out that if she knows anything about him, she knows that he's a philanthropist billionaire, but she must also know that he's got an evil side.
Yeah, and this is a tough one. Indifferent or dislike. Indifferent would be because sometimes he uses his money for good and he treats people well. However, he is a global supervillain.
Indifferent meaning that she's kind of torn between them. She likes some of his things and dislikes others, which I'm not so happy about. I don't think she does that. I think she either likes someone or doesn't like someone. I'm tempted. I'm putting him up there.
Okay.
I think she'd like him. I don't think she knows he's a supervillain, and if she did, she kind of wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, well, Fat Tony, she oversees the global supervillainy.
All right, Hans Moleman.
Man getting hit by tier list. What would you say?
I think she'd like him in a mild kind of way. He's a harmless kind of chap that doesn't do anything. She wouldn't be indifferent. She'd be like, okay, I quite like him. He's quite a nice little chap.
Yeah, I'd be happy to put him in acquaintances or even friend on the impression that they would be friends. There's nothing to stop those two characters becoming friends. There's no, she wouldn't dislike him for any reason. And I imagine she would, out of everybody in town, she'd probably pay the most attention to his woes and sort of give him a shoulder to cry on.
I think so. Helen Lovejoy.
Dislike.
Dislike.
Solid dislike.
After all they've been through, surely it's a solid dislike.
Well, can we class her as it's either dislike or loved ones, but with the love-hate relationship they have, but I don't know if there's any liking in there. I don't know if they're just stuck together at that point.
I think at this point we have established that there's a lot of dislike and hate, but is there still some love kind of in there? We've not shown any of that whatsoever. And this is, I guess we got to use the same logic we use with Crazy Cat Lady, that at some point it's going to become clear.
Yeah, I think I'm happy to leave her in dislike because we've not seen anything positive yet.
Her poll?
Indifferent. They met once, she cleaned him up, and then she never saw him again.
Kind of like a less annoying version of Homer.
Yeah, as I've just said, he has the same face as Homer, but he never reveals that he's related to Homer, so she's just a one-time stranger from Maude's POV that looks like Homer.
Fair enough. Herman, one-arm man.
Surely has to be another dislike.
Surely.
He's got too much weaponry.
Too much baggage.
Yes.
Dr. Julius Hibbert, a man whose brother she may or may not have caused ill towards.
Yeah, I want to put him in friend because she doesn't know that Hibbert knew that information. So Hibbert wouldn't class her as a friend, but I think the guilt she feels is because she sees Hibbert as a friend now.
Okay, Homer J. Simpson.
No discussion needed. He murdered her amongst other things.
Helen Hoover Lovejoy Roswell.
Right.
What's her name?
Elizabeth Hoover, or possibly Elizabeth Gill's wife now.
Oh, yeah.
Acquaintances / like. They've never been together too much, but they have been in little groups together in the past, so I don't think there's any negativity between the two.
No, I'll give you that. Scratchy or Itchy?
Itchy. Yeah, dislike. We already know that specifically from an episode.
Maud's mum, Ka-ching. Marge's mum.
Jacqueline Bouvier. Same as Grandpa, really. Acquaintances like. I don't think she'd judge her based on Marge, but there's not. In fact, yeah, no, she's sort of ruder than Abe as well. Like, she is more like Patty and Selma than Marge. So, yeah, we'll leave her there for now.
Fair enough. What's this young lady called? Junie?
Johnny Subla, Jenny. Truly indifferent. She's probably only seen her in the context of seeing her go into the Simpsons house as Lisa's friend.
Yeah, so she's relatively indifferent to another one of those children. Jasper, yeah. We already know that he's at the very least a friend. He sold them the house.
Yeah, I'm tempted to move him up to loved ones just because he has that. He gave them something that would make her think of him very lovingly. Like
I don't know. I don't know. No. I'm not allowing that. He's in between the two, but I'm not allowing it to go any higher than friend.
That's fine. I can deal with that.
Who's this?
That is Jessica Lovejoy, daughter of Helen and
Strong
Tim.
dislike.
Yeah, she's the Bart Simpson of that family, and there's only one child.
Jimbo Jones.
Dislike.
Strong dislike.
Easy enough. Julio, the resident Mexican homosexual. I'm going to go acquaintances / like, purely because he does come into it later, but he's sort of the hairdresser, and all the women sort of like him and like, oh, Julio. So I think she would probably enjoy her haircuts.
Acceptable homosexual.
Yes, as long as he doesn't say too much. She's one of those.
Fair enough. Kang and or Kodos.
It's either indifferent or dislike, isn't it? Because not only would they sort of not disprove the existence of God, but sort of open up the universe in a way she doesn't need it.
No. Definitely not. She does not like that.
It would be terrible. Anything, they would be in a category of terrified of.
Exactly. Kearney?
Dislike. Worst of the three. Jimbo's definitely the worst of the three. But...
Getting a whole heap of dislikes going on here.
No loved ones, three lines of dislikes.
Ken Brockman.
Loved one.
No
acquaintances / like. He's sort of sleazy, but he delivers news to her, so he has a use. And he said her name on the news once, so that's cool for her.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it? How about Kirk Van Houten?
Is he a friend? Would she continue the friendship outside of Luan?
No, she would not. I don't know if she'd actively dislike him. She may not actively dislike him, but she's not carrying on that discussion.
No, I would like to put him in indifferent in the sense that, yeah, she probably...
But not care less.
She doesn't, but she does teeter back and forth between some people and her opinions of them. And yeah, Kirk, she's got nothing against Kirk, but she doesn't like him.
Very nice. Edgar Van Hoover.
Edna Crandall. Well, they never met, so
That's not true. She's a friend. She's not a loved one, but she was an Agnes level friend at the very least.
yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that. They had a friendship where they would talk things they went to, and it probably wouldn't extend outside of that unless she was yelling at her about sex in front of the CHILDREN.
Rusty.
Speaking of Rusty, I thought they closed that place down.
Strong dislike, surely.
Yeah, it's similar to Scorpio, isn't it? She's disliking Krusty as she knows the real Krusty. Is she disliking the TV clone? Probably.
No. Yeah, all of that stuff.
Yeah, none of it's good.
Her Lago.
Mr. Lago. Yeah, either acquaintances like or indifferent. I think she would appreciate that he teaches music.
Yeah, and may not teach her children at some point. It's very unclear.
Yes.
Who's this?
Laura Powers. That's interesting because she's the daughter of Ruth.
Yes.
So
does she like her?
Yeah, I would. It's a stretch to call her a loved one or a friend. So yeah, I think like would be. She has a lot of time for Laura Powers because of her friendship with Ruth Powers.
Aye. Blue-haired lawyer. Didn't she marry him at one point?
Yeah, so I'm tempted to put him in loved ones.
Did she love him?
No, but she has fondness in her heart for him. There was no sourness there.
And I think they're just friends.
Deal. Legs. Same as Fat Tony. She didn't really know Legs too well. She probably knew him more than Tony because he's Louis' best friend. But yeah.
Fair enough. Lenny Leninson.
Precisely. Probably again acquaintances / like because she's friends with Carl. She's not friends with Lenny really.
Lenny friend. Carl friend. Lenny not.
Lenny.
This kid.
Lewis. That's a wild indifferent.
She's got nothing for or against that child in any sense. No. Alrighty. Lindsay Naegle.
Lindsay Naegle, indeed. I think we have another dislike on our hands.
No likes here.
Too much of a cold woman with no feelings.
Cold heart.
The opposite of a religious woman.
What's this guy called? Lionel Hutz, attorney at law.
Yes, that's his name. I hate to say it, but I think we've got another dislike on our hands.
Yeah, there's no way she's got any time for a slimy malcontent.
Especially if she's got a past relationship with the blue-haired lawyer who's probably done a lot of shit talking.
This is an interesting one. Okay, Lisa Simpson. Where does she stand on Lisa? I mean, does she like her? Does she dislike her?
I'm in the indifferent category again, but in the sense of sometimes, like Lisa's obviously the best one of the five, so Lisa has a sort of Lisa has the best opinion for Maude, but then I imagine she feels the most crushingly disappointed when Lisa is a Simpson.
Sure. So most of these people are actually she's indifferent to, but I think those two there of Kurt and Lisa, she's somewhat torn about whether she actually kind of has some friendship and like for, where there's an actual dislike. Although I think with Kirk, I would probably put him in the dislike, to be honest. What's this dude called?
Louis. That's her ex-boyfriend. So
did she love him?
Yeah, I would say loved ones in that she loved him at a time.
Okay, and that lasts forever. Who's this one? This is Lou.
This is Lou. Probably the same as Eddie. There's nothing. Lou isn't too wacky.
No, she'd be okay. What's this one called? The Van Houten woman. Is she a higher?
I think I would go loved ones for Luann. I think Luann's probably, especially at the Investorettes, Luann's the one that she is probably not close. She's not close to any of them, but she definitely likes Luann the most that we've seen. She's never had any issues with Luann.
Bit of push, right? What about that crazy chef man?
Luigi. I'd say acquaintances like. I imagine they've probably gone to that restaurant quite a lot, and it's probably middle of the road food.
I'm overriding you and saying that she's indifferent towards that man.
Yeah, I agree. Override.
Not in the slightest. Lunch Lady Doris / Dora.
Another cast favourite. Yeah. Again, indifferent. She's probably never met the school lunch lady.
Yeah. If she had, maybe she would have liked her, but maybe it would have rubbed her the wrong way. Maybe she'd be torn. But yeah, she's.
And a real push. The most she knows is probably if she's been mean to Rod and Todd, they'd probably come home and said the lunch lady was mean, and that would make her dislike her.
Yeah, we don't know that's happened. Let's keep her there. Okay, what's that country singer? Lurleen something?
Lurleen Lumpkin. I'd go for like. She plays nice country music and she tries to ruin Homer and Marge.
Okie dokie. Maggie Simpson?
It's quite harsh to dislike a baby, so I would say indifferent, but I don't think she likes Maggie.
Well, I think she dislikes the idea of Maggie as a Simpsons child. child.
I don't like the idea of your baby.
Mr. Eraserhead.
She did try to change Maggie into a Flanders, but then after that, just sort of, never went back to caring.
Fair enough. Manjula?
Possibly controversial, but I'd like to say friend. Oh no, if Apu's not a friend, then Manjula can't be.
I think we could retroactively, given what we've defined now, that definitely consider Apu and maybe Bernice, but definitely Apu moving up into the friend category. But then again, probably not. But Manjula as a friend?
I would move Apu, Bernice, and factor only up to friend.
I'm with you. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Nice.
Marge Simpson.
Ka-ching. Dislike.
Does she actually dislike you, you think? Or is she just torn? No, I think she dislikes it, doesn't she?
Yeah, she dislikes you in the way that she's probably torn about Helen too, but it's an overall dislike.
Martin Prince.
Same as Database. Like or indifferent. He's an unproblematic child that has probably spent time with Rod and Todd.
I'm going to put him in the likes then.
DMM, Dr. Marvin Monroe.
That's right, yeah.
We're back to indifferent again, I think, or dislike. He provides a Better Call Saul kind of family therapy.
Fair enough, yeah. I don't think she'd have a lot of run-ins with him and it wouldn't have much time for him. Maude herself, got to go right to the very top, surely.
Yeah, surely. She must.
Oh, she does. What about Sideshow Mel? He's quite high up there as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd put him so far as to call him a friend, but he was at the funeral without a joke.
Yeah, and the supermarket incident,
Which one?
Was that not him? Let's keep him as a friend anyway. I think she'd like him.
In the supermarket.
What about Millhouse Van Houten?
Just acquaintances, probably. She likes the Luan parts of him, but not the Kirk parts.
And then she's torn at best. Yeah. I don't think she'd like Millhouse at all. I think she'd dislike him.
Probably a little wiener.
What about Mo?
Oh, I lost. Hang on, clicked off Zoom. Dislike. Hard, solid dislike.
Fair enough.
Probably the biggest dislike so far, other than Murderer Simpson.
Homer's mother?
I would, depends how speculative would be, and I think they would get on very well. She's well read. She's nice, but she is a bit of a criminal. We'll get indifferent tone.
That monkey?
Mr. Teeny. I think she'd like the monkey.
You think she'd like You think she'd like the clown smoking monkey?
That tries to stab people.
She would not like anything about that monkey.
No, agreed.
Who's this?
Nelson's mum, and that is another solid dislike.
Absolutely. An easy no-brainer, top of the pile for Eddie.
Oh yeah, he has to be a holy roller.
That's right. Nelson Muntz, strong dislike.
Yeah, haha, and so forth.
Those nerds.
Those three nerds. She's indifferent. She's never met them. Never gonna.
Old Jewish man with his pants down around his ankles.
Loved one. No, I don't know.
A pity like?
Yeah, same as Mole Man, but in a wackier way, I would say. There's no reason that she would dislike him.
Otto, who's about to get blotto?
Dislike.
It's like she doesn't like any of those kind of wacky characters, does she?
It's a shame she lives in a cartoon, really.
She likes normal people who are just maybe have the odd quirk, but she does not like nut jobs. All right, what about Selma or Patty?
Torn. This thing, she very much likes how much she doesn't like Homer, but other than that, I don't like. That's the common ground. But if Patty and Selma liked Homer, I think Maude would have a free-for-all.
Poochie, total, absolute no.
Yeah, not only is he in the cartoon show she hates, he's voiced by Homer.
Diamond Joe Quimby?
Dislike. We've seen that multiple times. She's always challenging his rule.
Strong dislike. Herschel Krustofsky?
That is Krusty, I believe. That is Rabbi Krustofsky.
Yes.
I don't know. I think acquaintances. He's not. It depends how against other religions she is, and we've never really seen that.
So no, I think she's open to.
Yeah, she'd respect his faith and his seriousness.
Ralph Wiggum.
She's
torn.
Do you think? I would have put him in friend.
Ralph Wiggum? He's Clancy's son and she's got to hate Clancy.
True, but he is her nephew.
I don't think that matters. I think if anything, that makes it worse.
That's probably where she's torn. Yeah, okay. With a flute up his nose. Ralph Wiggum.
Exactly. This child.
Richard, everybody's favourite. Who cares? Cares about Richard?
We're indifferent. All right, Toddy, and all the way up there in that top row.
Yes.
Judge Snyder.
Judge Snyder, I think she likes him.
Respect for him, I think.
Yeah, and also, Blue-haired lawyer connection. I think he's the good judge. He's not the silly judge. Well, there isn't a silly judge. They just have two good judges.
That's right. Okay,
And she likes them
what's
both.
this one called?
Ruth Powers, and we're going to have to, we are putting her in Loved Ones.
Yeah, I think so.
University friends, housemates, neighbours.
Former lovers. How about this guy? Is that Sanjay?
Indian uncle, Apu.
Indian uncle.
Sanjay, indifferent. He's just Apu's brother. I don't think she spent any time with him.
Simpsons dog. Strong dislike for the Simpsons dog. Snowball 1 to 6.
Do you think? I don't know. We haven't established if she's a dog person or not. She doesn't seem to be.
They don't own any pets, do they?
They own pets after Maude's passing, so maybe she's just not an animal person. So, yeah, as painful as that is, maybe Maude doesn't like dogs.
Her once estranged cousin, Sarah.
Loved one.
She's a loved one, isn't she?
Yeah, there might have been tension, but not anymore. With Sarah Wiggum's story.
That cat.
That's Cat, yes. Villainous cat with axe. Scratchy. Dislike.
Sea captain?
Friend, I think, of a going off funeral/diary information.
I think so.
He did her a lot of good.
Fair enough. Patty?
Salma.
Andrew Salma. I think she would like her more of the two.
Yes, what is that based on?
I don't know. I think she'd like her no-nonsense attitude.
Yeah, okay. Salma was more of a barrier and, more like commitment, so I agree.
Commitment to several marriages.
Yes. One of them to Sideshow Bob, who she strongly dislikes.
Let's put her in there with Tone, then with her sister. Okay, what's this woman called?
That's Shauna Chalmers, Maud's best friend. So
who is such Shauna Chalmers in the actual?
She's like the female. She's like the female bully. She's like the female Jimbo, basically. And then, in the same way that they made Ralph Chief Wiggum's son after a couple of years, they eventually just made her Superintendent Chalmers' daughter.
Fair enough. These two children, Sherry and Terry.
Terry. Indifferent and Torn. That's what we'll call them from now on. She doesn't.
Skinner.
Again, Rod and Todd don't have any friends, so.
No.
Skinner would be a friend, I think.
Skinner would be a friend, yes. Localized in his kitchen.
Exactly. Probably sees Agnes and Seymour together a lot, so.
Put them together next to each other in this chart. It makes more sense if they're not together.
I'll be redesigning it anyway.
Okay. Whalen Smithers?
Probably dislike because of his association to Burns. She only knows him. Burns' assistant.
I think she knows him in other ways, and she's got a soft spot for him, always being put upon by that mean Mr. Burns.
Where would you place him then?
I'd place him up in the likes.
Oh yeah. I'll
budge. You budging?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm good
Snake.
with that. Heavy dislike. He's the one that held her and Carl at gunpoint.
The Simpsons cat.
She probably likes it more than the dog because it's quieter and it doesn't really do anything, but sort of the most indifferent.
All right, it can go in indifferent, I think so. Lentley Doris's son?
Probably, because he works in a lot of places around town, so he's probably, polite and friendly to Maude on occasion.
Nice young boy, but he's also totally incompetent, which I don't think she would like.
But I don't know how sometimes he's okay, sometimes the joke is that he's just being yelled at.
This Texan dude, no time for him.
The rich Texan, absolutely not. Under no circumstances is she liking the rich Texan.
No. What about this guy? Go on.
I will say this: the rich Texan provided a lot of funding for what became Praiseland.
Well, maybe, but she would be torn. But I'm going to keep her in a strong dislike. What is this guy called?
Johnny Tightlips.
What was his gimmick? He didn't tell anybody anything, right?
He got shot, and he says, "Who did it? I'm not telling you. What should I tell the doctor? Tell him to go suck a lemon."
I'm putting him in acquaintances under the Fat Tony rule.
Yeah, he is part of the gang. So, yeah. If anything, she probably likes him the most because he speaks the least.
Timothy Lovejoy.
Her friend. I think she's always, Tim isn't the issue, Helen is.
Yeah.
But he's not a loved one, is he?
No. He's got to be more than an acquaintance if she doesn't dislike him. Little Toddy all
Sweet
the way
little
up
Toddy.
there. Sweet little Toddy all the way up there at the top. What's his name?
Jesus. Troy McClure.
Troy McClure. I might remember him from such episodes as 2 weeks ago.
Yes. Probably likes quite a lot of his old 60s movies.
She knows he's a little dodgy, but she still likes him.
Yeah, the fish thing it's the Fat Tony rule again. He's provided enough cinematic entertainment for Maude in things like he's in like a Moses film and that kind of crap.
Uta.
Uta, don't make me run, I'm full of chocolate.
Indifferent at best, surely.
Yeah, the Uta cast is definitely
that goes. I like Wendell.
Yes, everyone. If anything, yeah. Wendell we established as one of Rod and Todd's friends, but he was throwing up all over the house. So if anything, she dislikes Wendell.
She'd be torn. She knows he's just a child.
And
Fancy
brilliant.
Wiggum? No, thank you.
You think? Do you not think he gets some kind of leeway for being Sarah's husband?
No, none whatsoever. I think that she despises him.
He's failing the city.
He's failing the city and he's failing her cousin.
Yeah, okay.
Willie? Acquaintance? She like Willie?
I think friend. We established again there was a funeral diary that said he drove on a tractor or something. But again, there's something about Willie that she probably finds quite charming, even if he is really aggressive. He probably treat Maude like a queen.
I think so. At times, at the very least. The snarky neighbour guy.
Dislike. He's rude to everybody. So
this dude Rainier Wolfcastle, aka McBain.
Probably dislike. I don't think he's putting out any movies that Maude's. They're all sort of
so I don't like him. No. Ooh. Probably she might not dislike him as a person. He seems quite affable.
True, but
I'm moving him up. I'm moving him torn.
Put him in torn. The guy who said yes. What a solid ending. Indifferent.
If she even knows him, she's like, whatever.
I would like to throw in the rest of the cast characters now, and we'll just put them in categories. Who have we not done? The first one we're not doing is Kashmir.
Dislike. She's a hussy.
Yeah, agreed. She's a hooah. Leopold.
Acquaintance, like.
Yeah, I think she would like Leopold and his no-nonsense approach to children. Raheem. I think she would also quite like Raheem. I think she would appreciate the way that he trounced Krusty with 2 words.
Maybe. She'd be either indifferent or she'd like him. So let's put him in likes.
Do it. Barb Belfry.
All of the context aside, I think she might have even called her a friend, but maybe an acquaintance. Somewhere up there.
I was inclined to say friend in our own. If their paths had crossed, I would say friend or maybe even loved one after enough time. I think they would be. If Barb was a character in The Simpsons already, probably would have been close friends.
I'll give you that.
Go friend. Pinchy.
Indifferent at best.
She doesn't care about The Simpsons lobster. Cecil Terwilliger.
She'd have to lump him in with Bob, I think, and assuming that everybody knows about his bad side.
Yeah, she probably would have respected / pitied him prior to him just becoming also a supervillain at the end of the episode and also trying to destroy Springfield. So another dislike. I think that's everybody.
Right, well that concludes, and Holly Roller's up there at the top. Crazy Cat, Lady God, Maude herself, Rod, Todd, and her loving Ned. Then up in Loved Ones we have what's his name, Louis?
Yes, Louis, Luann, Ruth, Sarah, and John Chalmers, Maude's best friend.
And friends, Agnes, Carl, Frank, Hibbert, Jasper, Crabapple, Blue-Eyed Lawyer, Manjula, Apu, Fat Tony, Bernice, Sideshow Mel, Sea Captain, Skinner, Lovejoy, and Willie. So she does kind of like people with a bit of wackiness, but it's got to be like other than, let's say, Willie, maybe Fat Tony's side, it's got to be a gentle, funny kind of wackiness.
Yeah, and most of the friends there have come from random, out of context things in the show, like those 3 being at the funeral and Mel being at the funeral. Like, there's no actual evidence to say they're friends, but we have to use that in the diaries that we have to assume that they were.
And a whole bunch of acquaintances and indifference, including Largo and McClure and the one-eyed baby and the Simpsons cat.
Yeah.
Before we get down to the dislikes of Artie Ziff, Barney Gumble, Bart Simpson, those announcers, Blinky the Fish, Sideshow Bob, Boob Vidella, Monty Burns, Cletus, Comic Book Guy and Cookie Kwan, Dr. Nick, Dolph,
Tatum, Duffman, Helen, Herman, Homer, Itchy, Jessica Lovejoy, Jimbo, Kangan Kodos,
Kearney, Krusty, Lindsay Nagel, Hutz, Marge, Mo, Smoky Monkey, Nelson's mum, Nelson, Otto, Poochie, Diamond Joe.
Santa's little helper, Scratchy, Snake, Rich Texan, Wiggum, Raphael, and whichever ones we just added.
Fair enough. Well, that concludes the whatever this is called, the Maude tier.
Maude tier list. Yeah, it's nice to see that she has 5 loved ones, but she dislikes most of the town.
Fair enough. It's kind of the trend I would have seen had anybody asked me.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it. I thought it would have been more of a level playing field, but there was a lot more disliking going on. Maybe she should have just moved.
She's got a foot. If you look at the top 3 rows, this doesn't include some other people maybe she does like in the town, but this is a solid set of people that she can get along with. If you include her family members that we know of, the happiest man in Springfield and all of those people, surely.
That's true. I would look at that list. If I was looking at the list objectively, not knowing who it was, I would say that person was making the best of a bad situation.
True. This is not a...
Diamonds in the rough. You found some diamonds in the rough.
Correct. Alrighty, well, let's call it there. Bye.
Yes, bye.